What's up, PEBCAK fam? Due to scheduling conflicts this week, we weren't able to record a new episode, so I put together our best of episode for cybersecurity interview tips. I also threw in a surprise PEBCAK rap to kick off the show. Hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you all next week. Push and play.
Yo, kick the beat, it's PEBCAK and we're coming with the facts. Victor from the great white north, you know he never lacks. Brian on the mic, the big beard in the dome is bald and clean. And Glenn is pouring something strong, the liveliest on the scene. Shout to Ben, the dad type mentor, keeping everybody grounded. Chris, the owner, world's best host, the way the whole crew's found. Yeah, the PEBCAK fam's in the house, we're dropping nothing but the heat. The illest podcast that you'll ever hear. Just press rewind and then repeat. It's PEBCAK, PEBCAK. The whole crew got your back, got your back.
All right, we did want to leave some time for our last topic because I thought it'd be cool. So for our last topic, and it'll be a rotating topic every week. This week, we're going to talk about our podcast description. I was playing around with this Google's new tool. They just released it yesterday. It's called Pomeli. I don't know if you guys had a chance to take a look at it, but it's supposed to help your brand build like campaigns for free, like marketing campaigns and things like that. It's actually really cool and advanced. Like I threw our website on it, and of course I don't sell anything, but it analyzed our website. It like these are your brand colors, these are your brand fonts, this is your brand message. This you give them a shot of your product, it'll do like fake AI generated photo shoots for you. So pretty cool tool. And I threw in the podcast on this tool, and it showed the description. I remembered it says, we talk about security issues and things like that. And I said, one of the things that we said we would talk about are interview tips. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. Like, I think we did actually do an episode on like practice interview questions. So out of the 242 episodes, I think we've actually only done that once. So I thought it'd be interesting to get, your guys' perspective on how you would answer cybersecurity related interview questions. So no scripting. Hopefully you guys didn't look ahead and give on the spot answers only. I thought this was unique group. So Glenn, you are a manager, so you're usually the one asking these types of questions. Scott, you're very technical. You're an architect, and I guess I'm technically an architect too, but I was more on the SE side. So I thought it would be interesting to get three different perspectives on the questions here. So without further ado, question one. So these are practice interview questions. How do you stay current with the latest cybersecurity technologies, threats, and regulatory issues? And hopefully this is a layup.
For me, I would say I follow a lot of people on LinkedIn, and you'll see a ton of posts with great material. So I'll typically watch videos like other, people weighing in on subjects, right, that have come up, like legal issues, risk-related issues, business-related issues with technology. So I would say the vast majority of my content is at least sourced from there, and then I'll go down the rabbit hole.
It's the problem with LinkedIn these days. People are turning into Facebook, so it's
I'm not a big fan of LinkedIn lately.
Yeah,
it's
separate
like, I really don't want to know about I don't want to know about your kid's wedding. I don't care. I want to know. Give me some professional updates that you guys are doing. I don't want to know about what foundation you're helping or whatever. Right. So let's leave it professional.
You want to learn about the soccer team I coach, Glenn?
What's that?
You want to know about the soccer team I coach?
No, yeah. Unless that's part of your LinkedIn as far as your professional value, then yeah, go out and go become a kid soccer coach and make that your profile. So
there's a number of CISOs I follow that have some really good content that's thought provoking, right? Like,
yeah.
They'll give a situation they've encountered and what you think you should do, and then what ends up happening and the forces at play.
Yeah.
So like it almost is like tabletop exercise to a degree, and you start understanding the nuance and the complexity involved with some of the decision making. So for me, I find that highly valuable. But yeah, you have to tune out a lot of the noise, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's a way to curate it like that. That's what we should build. We should build an app that goes to your LinkedIn feed. It separates the wheat from the chaff, and it gives you only the relevant feeds and not any of the nonsense stuff.
Override the feed algorithm.
Yeah. I listen to this thing called the PEBCAK. That's where I get my latest cybersecurity technologies, threats, and regulatory issues. Just kidding.
That was it. That was a layup, Glenn. Good job.
Yeah. Don't you? Doesn't everybody? Doesn't everybody?
Yeah. I think podcasts are really good. Like that would be my answer. Like I listen to podcasts, and that's the good thing. Most podcasts have an episode every week, so that means you stay pretty current that way. Some have multiple episodes per week, so I think podcast is good. But I think Scott's onto something with LinkedIn. If you can get good insights, because there are people that tell like personal stories and anecdotes that are really useful, real world examples. I think there's going to be a lot of good stuff there. And then like reputable websites. So my favorites are like Krebs on Security, The Record, Cyberscoop, 404 Media. Those are like my go-to. Bleeping Computer. That's usually actually where I source a lot of my stories for the podcast, come from those outlets too. All right. Question number 2. I actually got this question when I was interviewing at Google. Describe a time when you had to explain a complex technical concept to a non-technical audience.
Was that like last week?
You know, when I interviewed? Glenn's trying to trap me here.
That's why you're late to this call.
2013 is actually when I interviewed at Google, so it's been some time.
All right.
Describe a time when you had to explain a complex technical concept to a non-technical audience.
Every freaking day.
Literally.
Every freaking day. There's a lot of people out there who say they're technical, but they're really non-technical. So I haven't explained that. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think it's a daily exercise for me, especially in my role. Because
Yeah.
you never know the audience you're going to be in front of. And 9 times out of 10, you don't have the subject matter expert in the room. You have just like their manager.
Yeah.
And they're not as well versed in some of the subtle nuances, right? I think a big one, and this is one we fight almost on a daily basis, is the need for quality of service. And I just take it back to, look, that is a 20-year-old problem when we didn't have these other technologies in play. And companies wouldn't be adopting the internet as a default transport and getting rid of MPLS if we hadn't overcome these challenges. And people think about it and they're like, but I have to have QoS. They're like, maybe bandwidth control, but not necessarily QoS, right? There's a difference, because QoS doesn't really exist, right? It's just you mark things and then you decide at an interface level how to handle stuff. So taking that back and trying to make it a high level conversation when it's something deeply technical, that's very difficult. And I do it on a daily basis.
Yeah. It's not even just the non-technical audience. It could even be a technical audience that doesn't understand the concepts of what it is you're trying to explain to them. They could be very technical in a sense over some field.
Absolutely.
But they don't get this specific thing that you're talking to them. Let's say identity.
Yep.
Like it's not in their realm of the sphere of influence,
Yep.
right? So
that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
I literally had a customer who challenged me on how you get identity on a firewall. And so I walked them through that scenario and I said, look,
install an agent.
How do you believe this works? Right? Like, what do you think they're making a decision on when there's identity involved on a firewall? And he's like, well, they just get, like, you just plug it into Active Directory and you get the identity. And I'm like, but how do you enforce it?
How do you plug it in?
What's the enforcement point?
Yeah.
And to walk it back and go, it's tied to an IP address. And then they just looked at me like I just told them their baby was ugly, right?
I plug it in with this cable. Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
USB cable.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Scott probably more than the two of us, because I think Scott, a lot of times you walk in with either high level people or you walk in cold, not knowing your audience, and like you said, it's like I'll walk into a room of networking and cybersecurity folks. The cyber don't understand network don't understand cyber. At least that that deep
and they hate each other.
And they hate each other. Yeah, exactly. So it's how you bridge that and breaking it out, knowing I think those are like good soft skills to have, recognizing that network people don't know cyber and hate cyber, but you have to explain it to them in their terms. Like, this is like, just think of it as, a packet flow, or this is your firewall.
Yeah. The key is reading the room and realizing when you're either being too technical or too high level, right? And finding where that right balance is.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something you'll only get with experience, unfortunately. Can't be taught. All right, we only got Glenn for another 4 minutes, so I'm going to jump right in. How do you translate technical features of a cybersecurity product into a business benefits for a customer? I'll let Glenn go first on this one, because I know Scott does this every day.
Which is the different? Well, this is like
technical features of a cybersecurity product into business benefits for a customer.
Oh, I just chat GPT it, right? So that's the easiest way.
You can't chat GPT if you're in person. You need the Meta glasses and say, "Hey, Meta, help me out with this."
That's right.
You're not supposed to use Chat GPT. You got to keep it on the internal LLM.
Yeah. Well, you could do Notebook LLM, and then you just feed it a whole bunch of information, right? And then you're off and running the races.
Oh yeah, it's perfect.
It's how a lot of people get their 3 whys out of the whole thing. So
feed it into Notebook.
Don't even get me started. the amount of AI drivel I've seen on that, it's like, come on, just rub a couple brain cells together on this.
You know, one of the things I learned is it's coming down to forget the technical features. It's all about what's important in what the customer needs, right? You can throw all that stuff away, because I guarantee you we will design something as technicians into something that's going to work, right? Whether it's, you know, Wizard of Oz, look over here while I pull this string over here. But if you can't solve the business requirements or the need inside of there, you're not helping, right? And some of those needs, it could be just as something simple as, listen, every day it takes 10 minutes for my users to get online. That's a problem. I've got 80,000 users that need to get online, and it takes 10 minutes. That's a business problem, right?
Yeah. Bring it back to the basics. Understand their priorities and their problems.
Yeah.
Then talk about the features that you know will address those problems, and then tie it to the benefit.
Yeah.
And you can quantify it.
Reduce operational overhead.
There's
you
metrics
around experience.
Yeah. Too many times I've seen teams go in and go, look over here, look at all the things that I can do for you technically, and never understand what the problem was they went in there to solve for.
That's show up and throw up. Right?
Yeah. It's terrible. It's a terrible method.
They're so eager to get that meeting. They just want to like sell you the kitchen sink and hope something sticks and you get a follow up.
Yeah. I think that's what bothers me a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think metrics, being measurable and being able to demonstrate that, I think goes a long way, especially when you think about the audience. Like, what problems does it solve? If I'm talking to somebody in cyber, I said, well, you get 40%, 80% of your alerts are false positives. Like, I'll make your job easier. I'm only going to give you high fidelity alerts. Or you go into networking and they say, my users constantly complain that the VPN sucks. I'm like, okay, well, I've got something awesome for you that you'll never hear another complaint for your user. Easy to use, and it monitors their connection quality, so they can self-serve, and you'll stop getting those help desk calls.
Yeah, it's called an enterprise browser. Darn it! Have you guys heard what that is?
What? I got to install another app on my laptop, Glenn?
Not an agent, just an app. And it's the same app that you use to browse the internet. So guess what? It's a twofer. So
there you go. ABC, always be closing.
That's right. That's right. All right.
I know Glenn's got to jump. Scott and I will wrap this up.
See you, Glenn.
Cheers.
I was going to say I had an interesting one the other day where I could figure out real quickly that the customer was extremely interested and focused on problems, from a user to browser interaction, right?
Yeah.
And they were worried, so they asked, well, wait a second, they get an email link, they click on it. I want to know that was MS Edge invoked by Outlook, right?
Yeah.
And that's making the call. And so I want to, either isolate that or block that, in a given scenario. And so I actually went back and unwrapped, what's the problem with phishing? And the problem with phishing is typically grabbing credentials. So I walked through our methodology, and he looked at me and went, "We have that today?" And I said, yeah. That's been baked in for 2.5 years into the platform. And once he understood the capability, he goes, then I don't need to worry about Proofpoint over here. And I go, not really.
Yeah.
Right. So it was really interesting to be able to feel their pain. I mean, and know what the pain and priority is, and show them there's a thing here that you didn't even know you had, and that's providing you all this benefit. Right.
Yeah. That's part of the value realization. And I think that's an overarching problem for all of cyber and all of tech, is that you're just inundated with tools, and you see all these ads and you get all these sales pitches and says, well, I clearly need this because this is our problem. And then we go in and says, well, you already own this and we can solve it. So you don't need to buy a new thing. Just let us help us help you in this situation. All right, I think we can wrap it up on that. So if you listeners enjoyed this, let us know in the comments or send us a message. We can do more of these types of interview questions or bonus episodes for interview prep. I thought it was good discussion here. I was prompting our LLM for some good cybersecurity interview questions, and like, yeah, I remember getting some of these questions when last time I had an interview for a job. So I think it's helpful for our listeners.
This is why VPNs are stupid.
All right. So last week we did a cybersecurity interview question with Glenn and the guests. So we have a little bit of time here left, so I'm going to do one bonus interview question because going back to the roots of this podcast, in our podcast description, it actually does talk about like cybersecurity interview tips, and I think now we've only done it twice, so I thought it'd be fun to just throw in this one interview question here. So you're in the interview, you're interviewing for a cybersecurity job. I'm the interviewer, and I say, tell me about a cyber attack you've encountered and how you managed it. So this could be in your personal as going through it, or this could be from the perspective of one of your clients and how you helped them through it.
That's a terrifying question, to be honest. It's funny, when you said this, it reminded me of, I think maybe the first time I was on this podcast, we talked about ways in which we've been personally hacked, and I shared a story of basically getting my wife's blog compromised because I didn't read through the phishing attack email. Yeah. And I'm afraid this question would expose me as a network person who is learning security, rather than a bona fide security person, because, like, to me, it's hard to, how can I say, like, it's hard to imagine the complexity of what goes on. Like, I've developed a lot of sympathy for the people that live on the security side of the house that I didn't used to have, basically. Yeah. Because it's so hard to know what good looks like. Like, I know what a good network looks like. I can give you proof that the network is running good. Security is so weird in the sense that, like, I guess everything's okay, right? I guess everything's fine because the house isn't on fire. And then suddenly the house is on fire and you have no idea where to look and no idea what to do. So I guess in the absence of a specific example, what I would say is one of the things I've gained a lot of religion on in my, cybersecurity journey is I really feel like this honeypot technology, deception technology is so important because to me, it is a crystal clear, high fidelity signal that something is going wrong within your environment and you need to start looking, and it's gonna trip before the world is on fire. So I've gained a lot of personal conviction about this being a technology that I think everyone ought to have deployed and monitored in a very effective manner.
Yeah, I would argue low effort too. Like, it's a VM. Yeah. It sits completely independent of your infrastructure. That it's. I personally had a customer. They got compromised, and that's the very first thing we said. Hey, you're entitled to 300 honeypots. Like, let's just deploy these out there. Make them look like Hadoop, make them look like WordPress, make them look like this, make them look like that. And we found some pretty interesting things. But again, this was after the fact. They should have done this before the fact. But nothing gets a project in motion quite like getting hacked.
I was talking to a customer who they're looking at mergers and acquisitions use cases. And that's another very frightening scenario when you actually put your security hat on and think about it, right? Like, I'm taking over this third party that I really have no point of view on their security or not. And we were talking about the technological ways that someone could connect this merger and acquisition, this acquired company into the mothership in a safe way, zero trust principles and all that. Yep. And what I pointed out, though, was that, hey, when you do that, also put a few honeypots in there and let those be open. And that's going to give you a very nice signal of if someone's trying to hop across the wire, so to speak, from this new acquisition. Yeah. And they really seem to appreciate that idea, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you got, Brian?
I don't have one. Can't think of anything right now.
Not at when you worked at University of Phoenix or U.S. Airways, nothing. I guess those were, you told misconfiguration stories. I don't know if you ever talked about any compromises.
Never a compromise. Always it's some type of childish insider that is taking advantage of stuff. A lot of DDoS attacks, but yeah, nothing. No actual threat actor and problems with eviction. No hostage stuff.
DDoS is. How do you manage the DDoS attack? That's a cyber attack.
That was when I was on the F5 side, and what was crazy about that is it was like a hotel chain got hit with it. But before that, it was like a lower education, and then I'm trying to remember, it was like an NTP amplification attack, and what you could actually see is as you went back in time over the course of like 2 weeks, is that it started off small, and they would like take out little things, and then they hit this hotel. They hit ASU, and then the big one was not a customer, but they hosted adult content is the only way I can describe it. And so the guy over there, the only reason I even found out, because I thought they were just like a hosting provider, but he reached out to me and it was just like, hey, we use Arbor, blah blah blah, but this is a huge attack. And I was like, well, send me a PCAP of like the attacks. I can kind of, let you know if it's something that we could have helped solve. And then that's when it was like, it became apparent that it was an NTP reflection attack. But in there was like the most vile URLs you can even imagine. I was like, what is this website?
So like that scene from Silicon Valley where they're like panning table to table of what adult website they're at.
Yeah, like it was like just some of the things like that was like in the URI. And I was like, what the heck is this? But yeah, like that, I was like, wow, I didn't know that's like, I thought you guys did like Minecraft servers. I didn't know it was that. I was like, nah, this is where the bread and butter is at, baby. So
like we do that, but this pays.
But yeah, anyway, so as they took a step back for whatever reason, like they started small, like smaller businesses and stuff, and they moved all the way up. And at the time, it wasn't that big. It was like maybe a 20 gig attack, and their Arbor boxes could only do 20 gig. And then that's where we were like trying to offer scrubbing cloud, that, being the first stop, be able to absorb it. Even if you only have a 20 gig internet circuit, we could, take in a terabyte worth of traffic and all that good
and then
stuff.
You only pass through the legitimate traffic.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
You want to know, Chris? Sorry, I just was going to say I actually came up with a cyber incident. It finally hit me. I don't think I've told this story before.
All right, go for it.
Our cybersecurity strategy in the year of, this would have been 2002 approximately. This is the years of the worms. Like worm was a big dangerous thing out on the internet.
Morse.
And my job as a network person was, in the event we got hit by a worm, which we did, our office building was 14 stories high. And our strategy was you would run to each network closet and you would unplug that network switch from the rest of the network and you would go floor by floor. And our subsequent security optimization was to write a script that would telnet to each one of these network switches and shut the port until such time as you would walk back with a console and turn it back on. So that's my security strategy circa 2002.
There you go. Work smarter, not harder.
That's right.
Deploy a script instead of running up and down the stairs.
Yeah.
You don't know me, Dominoes.
All right, we got a few minutes left, so I want to continue our tradition of asking a cybersecurity interview question. So here's one for the group. What is a living off the land technique, and how can defenders detect it?
So it's milking the cow and drinking it while it's still warm. Good old 30-06 would keep the bad guys away. That's my answer.
Homesteading the cows.
Yeah. What about you, Dustin?
You got to have a garden, maybe some fruit trees in addition to your animals, some fish in the pond, Yeah, so that's what I'm going with. Similar in cybersecurity, have some. My best guess on this exact definition would be something similar of sticking to your territory for an extended period of time, self-sustaining, and then eventually leveraging, what you've gained.
Oh, this is a technical question. I missed that.
Oh, okay.
I think that one's on me. I should have said, what's a living off the land attack technique? Because you gave me the literal definition of living off the land.
Yeah.
Attack technique. There you go.
My answer's purple.
So that's when attackers use native tools to avoid detection. Like if I pop Mimikatz on a Windows box, well, every EDR on the planet, including Defender, should go off. That says, well, this is a foreign tool. It's extracting my password. It's going to set off all kinds of alarm bells. But if I use a native tool like a credential dumper, then it's a lot less likely to be able to detect that. So a lot of people use like PowerShell. A lot of people use like Microsoft Remote Assistance and things like that. And these are all legitimate tools. They're signed by Microsoft. They're on the allow list. They're approved processes to be run, and they fly under the radar because they are native tools and they are allowed to be run. And I guess the best way for defenders to typically defend against it is get a baseline. So you have to get a baseline. Does somebody in accounting use PowerShell regularly? Probably not, unless they're a super power accounting user. So you get a baseline to say, well, your average accounting user will never use PowerShell. Then you set a detection that says, well, if somebody in accounting all of a sudden uses PowerShell, well, that's highly suspicious. But on the flip side, same thing with developers. Developers probably use PowerShell quite a bit, or use Visual Studio quite a bit, but they might not use Intuit accounting software. So then, this accounting software is approved, but somebody in programming should not be accessing the accounting software. Therefore, that deviates from the baseline. That's usually how you find these living off the land attacks.
So you need like a UEBA,
something like that.
Solution.
Yeah, exactly. Or the other way you could do it is if you have a client installed on the local machine, and that client can read processes to say, this person is using GitHub. Normally I access GitHub through PuTTY or through my website, but now all of a sudden PowerShell is invoking GitHub. Then you can say, well, that seems suspicious. Someone's trying to exfiltrate something through PowerShell up to GitHub. And then exactly to your point, like this is user behavior analysis that seems like that's odd behavior.
Yeah, under special skills, definitely don't write, I can hit a man-sized target from 300 yards with a rifle from a standing unsupported position.
Like the average length of a restraining order.
Yeah, this is for a programming job, Brian. Oh, my bad. This is a great lean-in into your SecOps story. Context is key. Follow me March 19th at a Zscaler Ask Me Anything. I will be there. Be square.
Nice. And where can they sign up, Brian?
Oh, LinkedIn. Yeah, just go to the Zscaler page. I'm sure you'll find it. It'll be fun.
Also LinkedIn, March 19th. Be there, be square.
Because if not, you won't be around, right? Isn't that the saying? Around. Be there, you're square because you're there, and I won't be seeing you around.
Then you can find out how far out Brian can hit a man-sized target from an unsupported position.
It depends on the tool in question, to be honest with you. Handgun, I'm really good at point blank. So, what a loser.
All right, for our last topic, it'll be a rotating topic every week. This week, we're going to talk about more cybersecurity interview questions. I thought since we have two hiring managers on the show, I will ask a question, give my answer, and you two can critique it from a hiring manager point of view. Now, just in fairness, I prepared the questions, therefore I already prepared the answers in my head, so this isn't going to be like a snap, think on your feet type of moment, but I think it's more of like, what do you look for in an answer? What's the definition of a good answer? And what goes through your head when hiring somebody? And this is how they answer. All right, without further ado, question number one, what is the CIA triad and why is it considered foundational in cybersecurity? And I think this actually ties back to our first story about people's personal devices, so I'll just open up. The CIA triad is confidentiality, integrity, and availability, and you ideally want all three. Confidentiality, you don't want unauthorized people reading stuff they're not supposed to. Integrity, you want to make sure the data hasn't been altered or in any way. And availability, you want to make sure it's easy and available to access. And if you take away one of those three, that's not very good for cybersecurity. And the reason it's called a triad is because if you improve one of them, typically there are some trade-offs that you have to take away from the other. And cybersecurity is all about compromising, finding the risk tolerance, and having an acceptable level of risk. Because something that's extremely confidential, like if I lock a USB drive in a bank vault, it's extremely confidential, but it's not very available. So we're going to have to find some type of middle ground there. All right, so go. How did I do?
Glenn?
You first.
No, fair enough. And that's the thing is I'm going to ask, what's more, I'm going to ask you, in your opinion, which of those three is most important and why? And if you had to give up any of the ones, and I like the example that you just gave up, put it into the bank vault. So it's going to be confidential. You're not going to be able to mess with the data. So my integrity is going to be there, and the availability is what you're giving up. And I want a person to walk me through the examples there of which one's most important and why, because I want to understand their mindset, their perspective, and walk me through a couple of different use cases where you might give up confidentiality, or where you might, in this case, your example, you gave up availability. And help me to understand why you're giving up that one, because there will be cases where the business comes to us and says, we need to do this. And I want to know how well that person's going to be able to rationally think through or logically think through giving up one of those of the three. And is their mindset going the same direction that my team, with the risk tolerances, appetite statements and everything that we have, do we align in thought process as well? I'm not trying to hire only people who think and act and do like me, but I need to make sure that they're not going to undermine the stances of the security team when we hire them as well. So I like the example that you gave. I'm going to ask him, if you do have to give one up, which one do you give up again to get that? But I liked your definition. You at least knew what the three were. And I have asked what the triad was without saying the CIA triad. And then I would, try to see if they even understand where I'm going with that. And even when I did say CIA triad, they still could not tell me what all three of those were. Now, you came up with the question, so I imagine you knew what they were, but still.
I will say that for the questions so I asked AI to generate a list of cybersecurity questions. I didn't ask for the answers, but I tried to be honest about it, and this is how I would have done an interview without doing any further research into it.
Yep. So, all right, Glenn.
I'll be honest with you. For the first 15 minutes, I don't do anything technical in my interviews.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
I need to find out first if this person's going to be a good fit in my environment before I even go down the rabbit hole of talking to them technically.
Well, all right. Let's be honest and say, at my stage, I'm assuming I don't ask anything technical anymore, because you've gone through 2 or 3 interviews before you make it to me.
Yeah.
I'm doing relational fit and personality fits. So fair enough.
Yeah.
That's true. I will call it audible, Glenn. Pull out one of your personality.
Well, but I will tell you though, I mean, I've done several now, and I've caught a couple who I thought was using AI to answer the questions for them. And this is like, I don't know if anyone is listening out there. Stop. Just really stop.
Stop.
It's obvious, right?
It's very obvious.
Like
it can be seen.
Because I've seen those videos on, I think it was on X, and it's because you have the monitor, you're on screen, but then there's like a phone in front of the monitor. And then it's like it's listening to the interview, and then it's in real time generating the responses. And I'd like you to we've been in this industry decades. Like we know, don't try to BS a BSer. Like we know what you're up to.
Yeah.
And stop holding your phone up to the speaker. We know what you're doing.
Well, for some of them, you could actually hear typing. It's like. It's like, gosh.
Talk about boneheaded moves, right?
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. But again, I spend the first 15 minutes just trying to figure them out, right? As a person, if, the culture, if they exude or exhibit the same things from a work ethic standpoint, you kind of figure that out, right? And then if I can get past that, then we go into the technical portion, because who cares how technically smart you are if you just deserve to be locked behind a door and never interact with anybody, right? And in our jobs, there is a fair amount of interaction with people that they have to be able to do, along with being technical, right?
Yeah, I'd agree. And I do here at Zscaler, I've probably literally done hundreds of technical screens, and that's, I would say, second line, because usually the hiring manager calls, make sure they're interested, make sure they're a potential fit, and then I'm second line, so I have to do both. I have to do a technical assessment, because we don't want to hire a good personality, but you don't know things technically, and then I also have to gauge personality wise as well, and just like you two, I've done this long enough where I'll know within the first even like 5 minutes, like I'll know if you're a good fit or not, and then I'll keep going. I mean, I give everybody the full hour just to see if they can redeem themselves. But in general, I can tell, like, are you going to be a good cultural fit, or do you have the mindset of a hacker? Like, do you think like, the type of candidate that we want? And I've actually gotten people that ask me straight off the top, like even before you get started, like, what's your ideal candidate? What do you want to see? How do you want this to go? Like, if you open with that, that's huge, because people go into an interview and they think it's Q&A, like it's rapid fire Q&A, like stump the chump type of thing. But if you go into the interview mindset, so like, this is going to be a conversation, help me help you, like, how can we make this better for both of us? Like that's huge in my mind.
Yeah. Well, and I used to listen to a podcast called Manager Tools, and it said the purpose of the interview is not to hire somebody. The purpose of the interview is to find why this person who is just presented to you is not a good fit, because they went through several screens to make it to you. So somebody already believes they are a good fit. So find out why they're not a good fit.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. All right. I don't know if we have to go to the rest of them. I think we did a pretty good job of dissecting the Q&A process, and also unless, Glenn, you have a personality, like a Myers-Briggs type of personality question you want to ask that you usually ask in the first 15 minutes, non-technical.
You mean like something like, if you were to steal something from the office, which would it be? A pencil, a paperclip, a piece of paper? And walk me through your thought process on that.
That's actually, that is an intriguing question. Like, we're laughing about it, but it gives you a dimension of a person, because you'll get some people like, I would never steal. Like, stealing is bad. Like, all theft is bad. Like, you'll have those hardliners, and you don't necessarily want that mindset either, because number one, they're not flexible, and number two, they're telling you what you want to hear. But if you say like, well, anything's open season, like, I see that, I like it, I have to take it. Like, you don't want the other extreme either. You kind of want something in the middle that say like, well, I mean, and I'm talking from my perspective as an interview candidate. I said, well, if I'm using a pen and I forget that it's not mine, I throw it in my backpack, then when what happens. Or I'll say, oh, the office has snacks and I have a long drive home, so maybe I'll take a Coke. Maybe I'll take a bag of chips. I know I'm supposed to eat it at the office and enjoy it there, but I have to commute. I have a long commute and I need nutrition, or I need sustenance, so I'll take that with me.
I'm still on the clock because I'm still taking calls on the way home.
Ooh, I like that. There you go. But no, I've asked similar types of questions for that same reason, and that's the thing, is you don't want the hardliners either way. Yeah. And I get it, that the statement of if you really cared about it, you would have locked it up. And I've said for a long time, locks keep honest people honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because it removes that temptation. But that whole thing of, well, it's open game. It was on the table. I was here. Let me take it with me.
Yeah, I'll just sidebar real quick here. I worked at a company, one of my first tech companies. I remember walking into the cafeteria going, wow, there's like all kinds of stuff that's free here. Snacks. Think of all snacks, sodas, and everything you want. And I remember at some point in the middle of the morning, a lady coming by and basically taking all the carrots that were in the fridge.
Yeah.
And you just look at people and you're like, okay, so what are people going to eat for the rest of it? And she did this every day.
Yep.
Someone
It's
always
like
ruins it.
a bag of carrots is $3.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? So,
Like,
but
do you
anyways,
have a rabbit farm or something?
Yeah, Ben, like keep people honest. But they were individually wrapped carrots, right? I mean, that individual, like little snack size, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And some of it I can see, like, okay, I'm taking a soda to go, I'm taking a snack to go.
Yeah.
But when you clear out a whole shelf of food,
Yeah.
You're pretty much taking care of the seats, taking advantage of the system here. So
Yep. And that's the thing is I saw somebody as they were going out was grabbing the 12 packs, I work for a great company. They had all these sodas in the fridge and somebody grabbed multiple 12 packs as they were walking out the door. Yeah. And, I don't mind asking. I'm like, yo, what's the deal? And he's like, oh, I'm having a little get together at my house later, but it's all people from work. Therefore, I figure I can take these.
No. No. Said no one ever.
Yes.
I can see the logic. I don't agree with the logic, but I can see
the logic.
Was that the CFO?
Exactly.
He gets a pass. He signs the checks.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
I was just like, come on, people.
Yeah, back at Iron Key. I mean, we were not an early stage startup. We were startup-ish, but we had a soda vending machine there, but everything cost 25 cents. Like, okay,
yes.
That's reasonable, right? Like, I pay 25 cents. This would be like $3 if I went to CVS, but for the convenience, I'll pay the 25 cents. And you can say, oh, you should just give it for free. But I'm like, I can see the compromise there. Like, you prevent people from walking out with 12 packs, but it's still reasonable to charge 25 cents for a soda. And yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And it stops just everybody, taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
But, I had the similar at one of my, organizations, and most of us kept a stack of quarters on your desk. So if you just didn't have one, you walk in your buddy's cube, you grab a quarter and you go grab your Coke. Yeah. Nobody thought anything about it.
Yeah. You get the one guy that takes the whole stack of quarters.
Takes the quarters. Like, all right, well, now we have a thief in the office. That's a bigger problem.
There's always
an
one.
Actual
There's
thief.
Always one.
There's always one. Yeah, that's true. We had an interesting fellow in my another story for another day, but yeah.
This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential neighborhood.
Cybersecurity practice interview question.
Oh, what is this about?
So this will be interesting because Brian, you're an evangelist, Glenn, you're a manager, and I'm a practitioner. So we'll all have different answers on this one. How would you design a defense in-depth strategy for protecting sensitive data in a SaaS-heavy environment?
Be honest with you, I've never thought about this.
How would you what?
How would you design a defense in-depth strategy for protecting sensitive data in a SaaS-heavy environment?
You go with a company that has a platform. Boom, done.
I think the obvious answer is to build. I'm with Glenn. You need to have a platform. I agree with that. Also, you need to get out of the idea of like doing regex and dictionaries. Like, is this a recipe for disaster? Like, you'll never be able to do data security correctly. So
that's so 1990s.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people still do it. But yeah, build an engine that is basically based off of your data, not some random pattern that's out there. If you do that correctly, dot your I's, cross your T's, right? Then you can come up with the ability to get to like what I call the 90-10 rule. 90% of events could be kind of auto-remediated. You'll focus on the big 10, the next Edward Snowdens that are in the organization. Be able to apply that inline, out-of-band, email, endpoint, and at rest. I think you're money. I think that's pretty much the goal there. Having to manage 5 different solutions to do that would be insane. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think the platform there, integrations as well, I think are key, correlating the data. All right, you're going to say something, Glenn?
Yeah, I'm just getting ready to pass by your new building, so.
You're
Are you in an Uber?
Yeah, that's it right there. So.
Should ask the driver the same question.
Yeah. I don't know, Chris. I mean, you thought of this question, so what's the answer? What's your answer?
I did. So my response was and I'm putting my Ben Coral hat on right now, and I would say, well, the question asks for defense in depth. So one of the things is you can't just have one control; you have to have multiple layers. And the second thing is protecting sensitive data in a SaaS-heavy environment. So we know it's cloud-based, and we know it's not on-prem. And when I think about like well-oiled machines for organizations I worked with, I can't talk about what we do here, but organizations that I would say are mature in the security models, when they come to us to be their trusted advisor, like I always start with things like shadow IT discovery. Like, are your users using tools that make their job easier but are not sanctioned and you're losing data that way? That's a gigantic attack vector of doing shadow IT. Also misconfigurations. You own a lot of these tools, but like, let's say for Salesforce, there's a tremendous amount of information in Salesforce, as we saw with things like the drift attack, the Aura Inspector attack that just came out. Like, do you have basic things? Do you have multi-factor authentication enabled for your admins? Do you have phishing resistant MFA like FIDO2 turned on for your administrators? And I think even just like those two things, to Brian's point, like it's the 80-20 rule. You'll eliminate 80% of the attack surface just by doing like two very simple things. And then to get the other 20%, you want to do things like on the data protection side, you want like client-side encryption when you can. We saw so many attacks, people just data sitting there, data at rest. They just go in there and they yoink it. Like it's not encrypted whatsoever. Unencrypted databases or open S3 buckets. Like, again, things that you'll likely find when you look for misconfigurations. And then I would say the last layer, or one of the last layers, would be similar to what we saw with Stryker that we talked about last week, where they use living off the land techniques. These are authorized processes. These are authorized users doing authorized processes, but you want access control around that. Your Intune control panel should only be accessible from these specific IP addresses. You should only be able to access Azure admin if you're going through, a Zscaler data center. You could even do simple things like that for conditional access. That would get rid of a lot of the bottom feeder type attacks. It won't stop a state back actor, but it'll eliminate a lot of the risk there. And then just the last thing would be like posture control as well. Like, are you coming in from a authorized device? Like when I think of Stryker again, they went into admin console, but if they had a rule that says you have to come in from a Stryker managed device, like it'd be that much harder for them to just go into the admin console and wipe 200,000 devices. So again, a little unfair that I came up with the question, so I had plenty of time to prepare my answer, but not an uncommon question, I would say, when I was selling and people would ask us that, like, how do you approach this problem? And that's a pretty complete answer of what I would likely give.
I don't know how you thought we'd get that through that topic in like 5 minutes.
Well, like interview style, it can't be somebody droning on. So I might have droned on a little bit too long. I would say in a realistic interview type scenario, I would probably list them out. I'd say posture management, identity, data protection, access control. And I said, would you like me to elaborate on any one of those, or do you want me to keep going? I think that's usually how I would approach it.
Yeah, definitely.
The art of the interview.
Yeah. When we think of like the craziest things that happen with hacks and whatnot, and that we have to wrap, it's never like that sophisticated. It's not, there are the nation state attacks, which are wild, but yeah, it's like stolen credentials, phishing. It's like, it's
that vulnerability 101. That was patched 3 months ago and you never bothered to patch.
Or 20 years ago. Like, honestly, let's.
We're looking at
I
you,
feel like,
Walter J.
Changing the password from admin, something simple or difficult.
Yeah. I think it's only a matter of time before we see another Apache Struts. Like, come on, get out of here. It's almost a decade old. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So,
yeah.
Have a nice day.